Reading the minutes.
Okay. We actually have two sets of minutes that we need to approve. One is from our special meeting that we had about the budget. So there should be a copy there for everyone of that. And then one was our regular meeting minutes. So I'll do the budget one first because that was the shorter of the two. We had a special budget meeting on the 21st of March. We discussed potential upgrades with the expansion. We talked about buoys that would possibly, we'd implement those to monitor levels of the ponds remotely, replacing some manhole covers, fencing at the ponds, security, such as cameras and gates, electric out to the ponds, upgrades to the control panel at the pump stations, a shed for housing equipment and materials for treating the ponds, and lighting. Talked about e-voting and discussed implementing using electronic votes via email for board members on any expenses over $100. Anything under that amount, the decision can be made by our president with board notification. Mailbox. We discussed installing a mailbox at the pump house versus keeping the P.O. box. Tina was going to reach out to find out what is needed to accomplish that, and I'll give an update on that later. We can also add another mailbox that can be used for residents to drop off payments or communication. We would just install another box with a hole and a padlock on the box. The May meeting will be moved to Wednesday, May 10th, due to the community center being used for voting. And I will post a sign at the pump house when I post these minutes. Agenda items for future bills we discussed: increasing late charges, mowing at parks, the Rasmussen contract, the budget that it'll be due in October of this year for 2024, reviewing the proposed budget, property taxes, and Nestle Township funds. And then there's a list of all of the items that and the dollar amounts that we decided on for, and that I didn't fix it on here though, the roads, that's supposed to be $29,000, but it's correct on the budget. But anyways, so those were the dollar amounts that we came up with at that meeting. Do I have a vote to approve that? Or any changes that need to be made other than the roads need to be updated on the minutes as well?
I'll vote to approve the minutes.
Okay. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we approved the special meeting minutes of March 21st.
Correct. The next meeting that we'll have to approve is from our last meeting on March 14th. Terry wasn't able to attend due to a previous commitment for the wastewater update, so Rich presented. He was working on updating the paperwork with the MPCA. Flow rates last in that month, so it would have been for February, were a high of 14,120, a low of 9,010, and average was 9,950 gallons per day. So we're down considerably from what we were prior. Quarterly testing needed to be done that month. It was a 4-hour composite test that was scheduled for the end of March. Chairman updates. Rich spoke with our legal counsel. He did provide him with some items that needed to be updated with minor verbiage, dollar amounts for the LJJ contract. We had icy road conditions earlier this month. Seems weird when I look outside today and think that this month ago. Township did come out and spread some sand that will cost the district $250. Other residents in the district also reached out to the township as well. Colleen Roloff spoke with the township and would like to see a group of residents attend a township meeting after we create a committee to address the needs of our district to discuss not just plowing of the roads but removal of snow. This committee would also be responsible for identifying areas of repair on the roads. Our current contract for plowing with the township provides 45 minutes of plowing currently and does not include the removal of snow. So we'll need to identify how to best maximize this allowance. Committee members that were identified were Rich and Colleen Roloff, Al Powers, Doug and Sherry Nollmeyer, Matthew Heidelberger. And Joe has actually joined that group, and they are actually attending that meeting tonight at Nestle Township. We approved bills as listed of East Central Energy, LJJ, MPCA, MTBL, reimbursement to myself for QuickBooks, legal counsel from Kelly and Lemons, which Rich did talk to them, and that we are not responsible for that $140 charge. Reimbursement to Matt for our audio equipment, thank you, that we're using tonight. And then reimbursement to Dean for mileage and time for a meeting at the Capitol. We decided that we would approve it, but it would not be paid out We would just track those expenses with our expansion funding. There was a motion made to pay the bills, and let's see here. Financial report, we discussed our checking account and investment funds as listed. New business expansion costs. There was a motion made to approve current and future expenditures as needed to reimburse board members for activities, but these reimbursements would be paid upon the release of expansion funding. The safety deposit box, they presented the signed minutes at the bank and made the changes to have previous members taken off and adding new members. It was Paul and Matt that would still need to go up and take care of that at a later date. Insurance updates, we will be meeting next Tuesday, March 21st, to discuss the budget so that we could provide expenditures for the upcoming year to the insurance plan. We were granted a 60-day expansion, which will expire on 4/24/23. Old business, the expansion update Dean provided was that there was a meeting at the Capitol to present our funding request. Tim Corby felt that we would be granted the funding. Dredging, Sue talked about that they had a meeting. There's about 20 homes from the district that attended. Decision was made to go away from mechanical dredging and go with a siphoning dredging option, which is less expensive and less invasive to the canal shoreline. More decisions to be made, and the DNR will need to be contacted about the wetland to the east of the canal, or channel. It should be canal, correct? Channel, sorry. I'll fix that. Land use, Paul inquired about what the plans were for the land that is owned by the district. It was discussed that if the farmer has rented this land in the past and wants to continue renting, he just need to reach out to the board members to come to an agreement on rental costs. Otherwise, for now, the land will be left as is until a decision can be made at a further time or future time. Any changes other than the canal to channel?
Yeah, I see one change. In the chairman of the board update,
Yep.
we had icy road conditions earlier this month.
It wasn't the
It wasn't the
township.
township, it was LJJ.
Yep, thank you.
Or actually, it was Jones's that.
Jones's, yep.
Yep, Jones's came over and we.
I got a bill for it,
Okay.
actually. So yes, thank you.
Yeah.
One more, Tina.
Yep,
Under old business,
yep,
where it said on bullet number 2, it says siphoning dredging.
Yep.
It should be siphon dredging.
siphon, thank you. All right, anything else?
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes from March?
Got it.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we approve the minutes. All right, let's get on to the business for today. I am going to turn it right over to Timmy over there, and he can kind of give us an update of what he has accomplished since the last time he was here, and then last month's, I would imagine, flows, averages, and then you did do.
I did grab them bring them with.
You did? Okay.
I'm trying to get my wife to send them to me, but she's working on something else right now. But
Okay. Well, basically, what else has happened over the month?
things were running smooth. We had 4 days, there was no communication coming off the system. And we just had to reboot and start it back up again, so I don't know what was going on with that.
So let's back up on that then.
Oh,
So
that's-
that's happened now 3 months in a row?
Yeah.
And
No, not February, there was nothing.
Okay.
January, there was 3 or 4 days again.
And when you say rebooted, do you have to physically kill power and power it back up again?
Just to basically reset it, bring it back up, and then we don't know what's causing it, or there's a blip in it or something, sometimes a power surge will do it.
And is that what Quality Flow is saying?
Yeah, that's why I bounced it off them, and,
So they're resetting it remotely?
yeah, we could reset it off our phones, but I happened to be down there when I was
Okay.
down at the lift station.
So it's the meter, or what is it that's having to be restarted?
This is the modem and the monitoring system for our flow rates, basically.
And how old is that system, do you guys know or not?
Well, the Sensiphone, that equipment, I think that was put in just prior before I came. That was something Denny put in, but the modem was just replaced and upgraded last year, right around July.
Oh, so
Beginning of
that's
July, so-
not an issue.
We had a modem issue and the modem was dropping off. So we would have to physically go there and unplug the modem and plug it back in to get it to start sending signals. But now it sounds like they can reset it, or, I mean, if you're not looking at it daily, you're not gonna know when it drops off, right?
Yeah, and that's, I've gotten the habit now of looking at it every day, at least
Okay.
once a day. Sometimes-
Just to make sure you're getting,
Yeah,
and I would imagine when I was looking at it, I'd look at it every day at the same times. That's
Yeah.
how I track the flows.
usually I get up, or I usually up at 4 o'clock in the morning, unless I look at it quickly, and then usually midday or something, if I'm not, if I remember, I'll just look at it again, but,
Okay.
Is it dropping at the same time?
no,
It's not.
no, it's not pointed towards, it's just this time maybe, whenever it resets that, so,
Well,
Are they pushing out any updates at that time from their end?
no,
No?
no, basically, dead.
all right, so do they have any idea how to solve the problem? Because, you know, of course, we pay a cell phone fee, plus we pay for the monitoring fee.
Electric fee, yeah.
You know, so there's, I mean, it's a contract that we have with them. I wouldn't imagine that they have to provide us with some service. So why don't you follow up with that, Terry, and
Yeah, let's see if we can pin something down on it.
yeah, keep me updated.
Electronics are never good, but,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's convenience for you. It's something that you have to trust. If you
Yeah.
don't trust it, what good is it, right?
right.
It's there to make our job easier. How did we got our quarterly
Testing went good?
I&I testing that went through this month?
Yep, that went good. Went in, and, I think, I haven't seen the results of it. I think they mail them to you guys, don't they?
Yeah, typically they would send it to the PO box,
Yeah,
or they would email it out, so,
yeah, I didn't get no email on it, so.
okay.
They have all my information, that stuff's all transferred over, and I'm still working with the state, they still got, they sent me 2 more forms today.
Okay.
Send in for changes to get Danny and some of the other, that stuff all straightened out.
Okay,
So these should be the last couple forms now.
all right.
And I was telling Rich the other day that there's 2 people that take care of all the pond systems in the whole state of Minnesota. And they're really, really overwhelmed. There was 3, 1 retired, and they haven't found a way to replace her yet, so. They're very nice people, very patient people, but I wouldn't want their jobs for all the money in the world.
A lot of paperwork to push through.
Yeah. And we're gonna start getting ready for, I would guess we're gonna probably, start discharging within the next week or 2, probably 2 weeks. Once we get in there and see what the pond, I'm gonna walk out there, if not tonight, tomorrow night, and see how they're looking.
All right, so April, May, I think last year was mid-May before we even discharged. But I think there's testing that we have to do before the
Testing,
discharge.
yep, we had a test, 7 days before we start going,
Right,
and then 4 days after, and once, I think, in between while we're going, but, everything's full, like really full.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you open those valves, we're
Yeah,
gonna be
talk
blowing
about it.
into it instead
Yeah.
of blowing out of it, but.
yeah. Well, I
I
guess
don't know how much to add into the creeks either, because I know Chris is gonna start, discharging from the city of our city too, so that's
Yeah.
all going to the same creek,
Yeah.
so.
I don't know, I think I would wait a little bit until this meltdown.
That's what I want to see if we get out there and get capacity and see
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's water over County 1 right now.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of water over County One right now, and that's not at our ditch though.
no, it's
Right,
not.
That's
It's
a
at-
high though.
But yeah, the
It's high in
ditch is,
ditch, but it's not over
Yeah.
the road, yeah.
I'd say what, it's April right now, mid-April. Let's see what it looks like in 2 weeks, and then let's have another conversation.
Okay.
And then we can, I mean, you could probably order up the test. I think the pond has to be opened up before you can start doing samples. And, you know,
Yeah, that's why I want to get out there and see where it's
Just
at.
see where it's
Stuff's
at.
really, it's an overdrive now, so it's,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think you can get out there unless you want to, can you?
yeah, that's why I plan on walking out.
Okay.
It ain't gonna, shouldn't kill me.
Your friend's ambitious.
Relocator out of your.
Yeah.
All right, so really, if we get the updates from your wife on,
Yeah, hopefully if not, you'll get it from me tomorrow morning or tonight yet, so.
and then I'll just email it out, try to update everybody. All right, for chairman update, it wasn't really that busy this month, other than we had that special meeting and we got kind of prepped up for that. I had a phone call into Lemons to straighten out that bill for $140. I did try to get a hold of Chad, he wasn't in. He was still gonna try to give me an opinion on, about those wastewater, our last operators, continuing ed money that he wants us to pay for. Still waiting for a response on that. I'll try to ping Chad again. I'll send him an email and give him a call this week. One thing that did come over, and I don't know if you got this, Matthew, I just got a random note off of our online about somebody wanted us to start posting some information about concussions and so on and so forth.
Yeah, the fellow's name was Gabriel, I think it's a fellow, and yeah, he just recommended that we add this information about that to our website, and I'm open to it.
The only reason I was just curious about it because I looked it up and it's actually a law firm it's an injury law firm out of like Connecticut or something like that. And I would imagine, how would they get that information? I suppose he was just out web searching sometime and.
That's how I found the information for our website now. So I was
Okay.
just looking at different things, and I found a playground, like association or children's program or something that had to do with playgrounds, and I thought that the rules and the guidelines kind of looked pretty sufficient. So that's what I had to go from. And I think if it's a law firm, it's probably pretty accurate.
Oh, I looked at the information and, based on like my training from when I was refereeing and stuff, it had basically the same guidelines and stuff for concussions and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it also had some different hints on if there were little kids playing on there and if they fell and so on and so forth. I don't think it's a problem to post it either. I just thought I'd mention it to you.
Yeah, and we can pick and choose what we want on there too.
Right.
Or we could go to like a sports type program and look at their protocol when it comes to concussions and stuff like that and post that. I think the suggestion of having injury coaching is good on there, yeah.
Okay.
What brought all this up?
It was just a random email that came across our message board on our website. And I responded to the guy and said, yeah, I'll look into it, and I mentioned it at the meeting tonight.
What was the question?
He just wants us to, he just basically said, here's some information. It's about play parks, and we have stuff posted on our website about, special rules or considerations about playing at the park. And he's just said, here, look at our website, basically, here's some additional information for littler kids and how to recognize a concussion. and
Do
so
we
on.
have something posted there saying not responsible, or
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah, we do.
What is the verbiage on that?
I am not sure. I mean, I can pull it up and read it if you.
Pretty much.
If you wanna do that?
Well, I mean, if it's...
It's pretty generic. It's
Okay,
pretty like,
yeah.
one kid on the slide at a time.
Oh,
Just guidelines to how to be safe on the playground. It doesn't really go into like injury or anything like that. So that's why I thought it would be a good thing to add.
So are we responsible if someone falls and breaks an arm, or...
That I don't
get
know.
hung up on a...
The park is a really gray area when it comes to everything.
Yeah.
If somebody gets injured on the lands doing whatever, I don't know who's responsible. Technically, we own it and we pay tax on it, so I guess that would put that in our wheelhouse, but.
And we do have insurance on it for liabilities.
Oh, okay, that's what I was
And when we,
going at.
right, so when the whole park thing in the playland came up, they said we would cover if there's an accident, basically, I don't know what the verbiage was exactly, they say, basically they said, yeah, we would cover you, we're not gonna tell you not to do it,
Oh,
not to put a
Okay.
park up there. I guess that's about it, other than the budget work that we had this month, in the snow plowing and talking about some random stuff, it was pretty quiet this month.
We're talking about the play area there, one thing, because that was my world, right, kids
Yep,
and play equipment. When we drove through, looking at some of the big tree branches that are hanging down awfully close where kids are going to be going to play here soon.
yeah, I think, so you're bringing up the issue with the downed trees from the snow this year. That's something that should get addressed fairly soon. I did notice that, thought about the same thing. There are some, it's either go through and pull them down so they're on the ground until somebody can get them cleaned up. It's still pretty hard yet to maneuver around out there in the park, but it's something that should probably happen in the next week or so, I imagine.
No kids.
Me and Don went down there and he pulled it down with his four-wheeler, I could cut it up.
Yeah. All right, well,
It's pretty muddy out there right now.
It's pretty muddy right now, I don't know if I would be
And
trying
give it,
to,
give it a week or so and
Yeah.
see what happens.
but it's something that I think that a few of us could probably take care of, at least get them safe and get them cleaned up.
And then the question comes, there's some trees that are in poor shape. Do we want to just be proactive and knock them down while we got a group out there, or do we wait until they fall down and then start?
Yeah, I think, well, as far as parks goes, I mean, it's something that we should probably try to get organized,
Yeah.
a spring cleanup. I'm quite open to that at any particular time.
Yeah.
And you'd have to do is the cleanup part of it, of the trees, where would we put it? Or would we bring it?
You just throw it in that east channel and let them clean it up.
You didn't say that.
I'm just teasing.
You said that out loud, I heard.
Yeah, you got this.
I do have a question though. If we're concerned about the safety of that playground area with, like the branches or whatever, do we want to put the fencing around that until we think it's okay for kids to play on it, or? What?
I wouldn't, chances of something happening are extremely slim.
At this particular point in time, I think, yeah, if we get out there and get them pulled down,
Yeah.
I don't see too many people going up there at this particular time until
Okay.
things dry up anyways.
Is there your on your honor sign out there? I thought there was sign.
There is an on your honor sign out there.
Okay,
Play at your own risk.
so we're probably all right then.
All right, let's move into the financial updates.
All right, so, couple of things. There was some new security measures with Unity Bank, who we have our checking account with. Karen Althoff had emailed me and said that she updated the phone number to be hers, but the problem is that it would call her when I tried to log in, so I couldn't get in. And I kept on emailing her and asking her, hey, can you add my phone number on? She said she didn't know how to do it. So I have been working with Unity Bank, and after talking to them, their recommendation is that we change over to a business account versus, this is more like a personal banking account right now that we have set up. So there's no cost to the district to do that. The only difference is that it would allow Karen Althoff, our accountant, to have her own user sign on and access. I would have my own user sign on and access. And right now, Dean is the other one listed on the account on the signature card. So what I would need today is to have on the meeting minutes that who we want to have on that account, that we agree to have it changed to a business account, for one. Number two, who we want to have access to that account. And once we establish that, I need names, email address, and a user sign on that they want to use so that I can get them set up with that. So, because part of the issue is that when I called to try to have this addressed, Karen Althoff's email she's the main contact, which probably is not the best thing to have. I know that our accountant should have access, but they should not be in charge of that account because we can't make any changes to it
No,
without her permission, essentially. So
it should be the other way around.
it should be the other way around, yep. So because she does automatic drafts out of her account, so she pays herself the $180 a month. That firm, they draft that automatically every month out of the account. East Central Energy is automatically paid through an auto payment. And then when she does payroll taxes, those are automatically drafted out. She does them herself. So if she's gonna have access to it still, which she's gonna have to, and also for checks and balances, but we just need to establish who needs to be on that account. And the reason for having to change it to a business account is that with the security measures, she has a business phone, like a regular landline. So I would literally have to call her every time I wanted to access the checking account and check balances or check, deposits and everything. That's just not gonna work. So they had me talk to their business department, their technology there, and I was dealing with Cindy and that's what she recommended, is she said, you guys really need to be a business account. She said it doesn't change anything, there's no fees, there's nothing like that. She said it's just how you're set up, and so that you can have multiple users can have access to an account, where if you have a private checking account, you have one user, like, you know, a husband or wife, or you share a user ID, so.
So Tina, who would you suspect, you would be on it, Dean would be on it, they would be,
Karen on
Karen
that,
would
yep.
be on it, and then either you or your position would be on it, right?
Yeah,
The-
so that means that you would have to go up and sign a signature card to be added, also, Rich.
Can they use my existing signature card that I have on my account?
No.
Because that's all they had to do was, when we changed over the
Yeah,
safe deposit box, they said, oh, you already got a card.
I can ask her, but she said that we would have to, if we add anybody, they would have to come up and sign. So maybe if you're already have a signature card on
That's
file?
not a problem, I can
Yeah.
stop by anytime, so.
Yeah,
So are we looking for a motion? on
Yes,
this?
you're the
I
wordsmith.
have a question for you. Tina, would this affect the checking account at all? Will we have to change, will our account number change? so that
account
we
number
can
does
check
not
things
change, because
like-
I asked that, I just ordered checks not too long ago, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
Nothing changes to that, it's just how they have the account set up to have multiple users access it versus single sign-on.
Thank you.
So you're looking for a motion to change the Unity Bank account from a personal
Personal
account
to a
to a
business.
business checking
Yep.
/ savings account,
Correct.
and to add you and Dean, well, yeah, Dean and Rich, those positions, the treasurer and the chair positions,
Yep,
along with yourself to that account.
correct.
Do I get a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion accepted.
All right. Next item with that, our current checking account balance as of today was $46,456.86. So that was that, and then also, everybody should have a copy of a budget in front of them. Did you get one, Tim and Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, they're really small because I was trying to fit them all onto one sheet. So I apologize. But the first page that you have there in front of you is going to be our actual expenditures to date. So January, February, and March. So instead of doing just a checking account balance at each meeting, I'll present this, I'll update it so that we can see. I think that this is a much better look at where we're at financially.
Thank you.
I agree too.
Versus just knowing what our checking account balance is. So the far side shows what we proposed, the very far right column, what was proposed and approved as a group, what we talked about. And then it's just a running tally next to it, the total. There's another page that was the proposed budget that we discussed at our budget meeting, and so you can reference that as well. So it kind of breaks it down by each category for operating costs, parks, roads, and then wages. And
this
then-
is the year, correct?
Yep,
Or-
yep. And then the page that's orange is actually one that I compiled to get those expenditures, to get an idea when we were coming up with our budget of what have we actually spent in the past. We've never had a budget as a sanitary district. So this was kind of looking back and saying, okay, what have we actually spent in the past? So that's what we base those numbers off of for 2023. We will have to approve a budget this October for the next fiscal year, so we'll have to look at doing that. Possibly having a special meeting, I'm assuming we'll want to do that at, for our budget meeting this fall. So we would propose to do that in September, so that we can have it approved at our October meeting. Is there any questions about the information listed?
No, I like it, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a
Very
good
nice.
meeting.
So that's all that I have.
Okay, Dean, how about investments?
Investment fund at the end of March was $201,269.24. And our cash balance was $19,748.55.
I approve.
All right, presentation of bills. Are we okay to move on?
Yep.
All right, so I have a bill from Jones Construction, which I'll pass down, for $250. That was for the spreading of the gravel when we had those icy road conditions. The next bill is from HR Green for $185 for treatment plant oversight through February 28th. I have a bill for Minnesota Valley Testing Labs for $154.55. I'm assuming that that is for the quarterly testing that Terry did at the end of March. I also have a bill for myself. The total on here is $149.89. I used a personal gift card for part of it, but $149.89 is what I'm asking to be reimbursed. That was for printer ink that's used to print different things for the meetings.
So this 154 from MBTL is for your March.
I'm assuming that's what it's
Yeah.
for, because we just got it.
Yep. Okay, so, and then this HR Green bill is the same bill that we had last month. And I wanted a better description from that, and just other than treatment plant oversight.
Okay?
And that was actually for Tim, that was our special meeting we had with the MPCL.
Oh, MPCA. So I should actually code that for expansion.
No, I think that shouldn't be part of the expansion. We would have had that meeting anyways.
Okay.
Because it was an update of what we have to do for our licensing. We would have asked to do that anyhow.
Okay.
So, I would, how do we want to code that? That's a good question. Maybe underneath, we did budget somebody for HR Green, right? Or do we put it under licensing?
So we have actually for our new budget, we have engineering costs is what I would guess that we would put that under, just because it's kind of falling under that umbrella.
Yep.
Because we have that overlap with LJJ and HR Green, so we just coded it as engineering costs versus HR Green. We can also add HR Green on here too, but I think that would fall under those.
I think it falls underneath
Expansion.
engineering. Does everybody agree that?
I agree with that.
Okay, so we'll put this, I make a motion that we put this particular bill underneath engineering costs.
And just to circle back also, so the expansion meeting, or the expansion costs, I'll also be tracking it on a spreadsheet like this so that we can see, so the charges that Dean had from last month will be approved, but hadn't paid out yet, those will be another tab on here, I just have not completed that yet, so.
There's only one other thing that you might want to put on there,
Okay,
and that would be that $1,000 that we had to do to redo the PFA loan. That came like part of,
okay,
or like in January, we had to do
Okay.
that. HR Green did all that work.
okay,
Just a note, half of this expansion money is for ponding too, so I don't know. So like 500 and 500, but I don't know if we need to divide it up in that, so.
Are you talking whatever,
The expansion for our adding the 23 homes is only half of that, 2.2 is 1.1 million, and the other 1.1 million was
for pond?
money for the ponds.
Right.
So, I mean, just to differentiate that there is that, so,
okay.
And that's a discussion when we get into expansion.
yeah.
And then the other item that I have is Chisago County property taxes for the upcoming year.
That was a total of 212 on those,
Yes,
and
but
they were in default, or not in default, but
they're delinquent, so the ones from last year,
Delinquent.
so I have those. So that 212 does not cover that. What we would have to pay from last year would be a total of, let me add it up here quick, sorry, I should have had that ready, my apologies. It's $256.25 and $387.70 from the year.
and that'll bring us all up to date.
Yes, except for the 212 is separate. That's for this current year. That would be due by May 15th.
Okay.
So,
So we're in going for just under $1,000.
yep.
And were those, where were those invoices going?
not sure. I got a letter from Chisago County after our last meeting, so I got this on March 17th.
Okay,
I don't know, I had gotten this prior to something similar to this last year. But like I said, my mistake was that I thought Altox were paying, because she was paying our other taxes,
sure.
like our payroll taxes, so I had assumed, which I shouldn't have assumed, but now I know, I'm responsible for this, she's doing the payroll taxes. So now going forward,
We should be good.
we should be good, yes. So that should be taken care of. Did I pass that down to be signed?
And they never reached out to us to let us know that we were delinquent, did they?
No, and I don't think that they knew who to reach out to is the problem. I had actually emailed Wendy and asked her about it. She never responded to me though.
Okay.
So, I asked her a couple questions actually, and I didn't get a response, so.
One of our neighbors notified us by just looking on the
Yeah.
website that we were delinquent. And I went, oh, really?
Yeah.
So these taxes are for the two parks?
Property
the 2
tax,
acres?
Yep.
and the 2 acres, yep,
Okay.
yep. So here, I'll pass this down, you guys can sign that.
Oh, those, okay, both or just one?
Both, I think we should sign both. And then, is there something else? Sorry, I'm just trying to remember if there was something else that I wanted to add to that. I don't think there is. Nope. I think that that's it for bills, yes. So I need a motion to pay them minus the HR green, or we're paying the HR green, just coding it?
We are
as
paying the
regular?
HR green, we're just,
Okay.
yeah.
And East Central Energy, I have not gotten our bill this month from them. So I have it on there, it's automatically drafted, but I have not received a bill. So I don't know what happened. And I was just there last Friday to check the PO box.
All right, well, I'm sure they'll catch up with us.
Oh, yeah, no. Like I said, they'll take their money automatically the end of the month. It comes out every month, so.
All right, anything else on finance and bills? Good? Old business, channel update, Sue, you want to bring us up to speed?
How long is the meeting?
No, let's make it brief.
Tim and I went to the DNR office and submitted a permit for the cleanup of the channel. And it takes about 30 days to, that's what they gave us, 30 days to get it finalized, completed, I should say. We are going with the new company, and it will be siphon dredging, and Dennis Franson is having a survey done to see where the property lines are in the channel. So if anyone saw a gentleman walking up and down the channels, was the surveyor.
Okay.
So we're moving ahead, we just need some T's crossed, I's dotted. Tim, do you have something to add? Tim's been my partner in crime.
We're still, when the weather gets squared around here, then the waste, or the wetland
Wetland.
manager will walk that bank on the east channel and make sure that we can dredge over that bank into that area. And our new permit would supersede the other two, but they were referenced in the new permit, so they can tie those together.
They tie everything together?
Yeah, and those permit numbers stay the same, they will not.
Right. But we'll have a new permit
Expire.
that will cover both channels. And we also put in to change the name of the permit holder from Dennis Franson to Sue.
Shorewood
Park,
Sanitation.
sorry, Shorewood Park.
Sanitary district.
Sanitary district.
Okay. All right, so that's moving forward.
Quick question, so you said once snow is melted, the wetland manager will make a visual inspection of the area to the east of the channel?
East of the east channel.
East of the east channel, okay, thank you.
And you might want to add the dredging is scheduled tentatively for October, middle of October this year.
And what amount were they talking about on the total cost of it? Was it 45,000, was it 50,000?
Well, it's, they gave like 51, close to 52.
Okay.
But that, that isn't set in concrete,
Yeah.
that it depends on,
That included the aquatic weed harvesting.
yeah, weed harvesting done in the
Mhm.
spring and in the fall. So quite a difference from our first project.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are we okay to move on to mowing?
Yeah, so new business mowing. As far as mowing goes, you said Rasmussen reached out to you?
Yep, Rasmussen did reach out to me and sent me, it's a contract, so he sent it before our last meeting, but we had questions about what does that include kind of thing.
Right.
So mowing of the ponds is $100 per time as needed. Mowing pond drive ditches $100 per time once per month, and then spraying of weeds around the ponds was $195 plus the cost of Roundup. He recommends at least twice a year. I did email him back on Friday and asked him, Joe wanted me to ask, he said, ask him what exactly he is spraying around the ponds. Like, Joe just wanted to kind of know, he's like, because $195 is a lot. He said, we could do that ourselves. He's like, I have a sprayer, the cost of Roundup, he said, we could then do it as much as we want to. So I don't know if that's something we want to look at doing, is doing it ourselves.
I'm gonna lean on Terry on this a little bit, but I just have concerns with us as residents doing anything up in the ponds
Yeah.
for liability issues.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that I have. I mean, we've decided to go third party on that, particularly the major part of the sanitary district. So I think that still should be controlled by, we can ask him the question.
Yep.
I mean, some of our mowing bills got pretty hefty,
Yeah.
like up to $1,000, a couple times in a couple months. And if it's only $100 a time, that's mowing once a week. Plus the roads in there,
So to give us an idea, last year we spent $3,349 on mowing services, mowing and spraying. That's just to give you an idea. So for this year in our proposed budget, we have set aside $3,500 is what we have allotted for that.
okay?
Or $3,500. So I just need to get back to him. I'm assuming we're still gonna go with Dean, just because we've used him. His
Yeah.
prices have not increased, they've stayed the same.
No, and I think we just need to, when he sends the invoice, how many times what did you do this month?
Yeah, okay.
But it's very important, it's part of the MPCA that pond has to be as pristine that
Oh.
and kept up.
So is the company deciding when needed is, or do we say, or do we just have him?
Well, I think,
Because general mowing is as needed, they decide
Yeah,
when it's
what
gonna be
is-
done.
it sounds like he's mowing at least once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we
I would think
need that?
every other week. That would save us a lot of money, because I don't mow my lawn any more than every other week. I don't know, it needs to be like a golf course out there.
Well, here's the thing too, is it's harder to mow if it gets too long.
Yeah.
So he's keeping it on a schedule. So if we say every other week, he may up the price anyways, because it takes him longer
Yeah.
to mow
Yeah.
it, because it's,
And the clippings and stuff.
and the clippings and stuff, so it's,
So once a week is $2,600. If you're
Yeah.
doing it for 6 months,
yeah.
or $2,500, whatever you're thinking of, but
I think, it's kept up in great shape.
yeah.
There's no weeds up there. There's been no complaints. The MPCA likes where it's at. I don't think we change, and he hasn't upped the price.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Anybody else have anything else to say on
Just
that?
wondering what Terry would think about it.
Yeah, from what I've seen last fall and stuff, it looks nice up there. And
Yeah.
that's, no weeds and stuff, and that's proactive being on there, so
Yeah.
it's not trying to chase something, it's done here.
Yeah.
The only thing we need to do every once in a while is grab a chainsaw and take care of the death ball.
Right, right. And like you said, we can work that out with Terry, or,
If I
figure
seen
out.
something like that, I'd just do it, be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, every once in a while in the summertime, I'll take the grandkid and the wheeler back there
Yeah.
just because it's
It's nice
and
back
quiet
there.
and, yeah, you know, go back there and see something going on. Yeah, you take care of it.
Yeah.
So as far as money goes, I think we just keep tight with them, and we just, we monitor it, keep an eye on it, but he's served us pretty well
Yep,
over the years.
for sure. Okay. All right. So motion to approve from,
You got it?
okay.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All right, next item is late fees. We talked about it at our budget meeting. Do we want to increase the late fee that is on our current bills?
what is it? The late
Should be an
fee.
answer. I honestly,
Look on my, does it say on my bill? Look, I got a
yeah, it
copy.
does. I don't have my computer with it has our billing on it. It's that's on my other computer at home. So it is a 1.5% monthly charge. So it's not much.
Yeah.
It's really not much,
It's about 20,
yeah.
right?
Depending upon how much you're past due. But, so if that's something that we want to look at as a board of doing, increasing that, I don't know.
Well, I guess there's a lot of questions revolving around it.
Mhm. Like
Um,
how many do you
How many
have?
people are delinquent? Are they the same people?
Same people, consist, usually, but there are people who also are just late once in a while, and those are not the ones, like, because I actually assess the finance charge. If it's somebody that is normally paying every month on time, I don't put a finance charge on it. I skip that statement, I'm like, I'm not gonna put a finance.
Yeah.
But if it's the ones that I'm assessing to the county, I put a late charge on it every month.
Well, I don't think you changed on that.
But, there are people who, they pay it eventually, but they'll just go 6 months, like if they're out of town or whatever. So I don't know how we want to handle that. If we encourage people to pay on time so that, because if we're looking at having a budget, if we don't know how much we have coming in every month, makes it a little bit hard.
Can you say what percentage it is of the bills?
I'd say there's about 25% of the homeowners that do not pay on time. Probably about a quarter of them.
That's a lot.
You
Then it's
think-
habitual, that's monthly?
Habitual, yeah.
You think raising it would
Yeah,
make it
well, yeah,
more
if
of
you
a swatting of
hit 'em in the
fly and more
pocketbook.
of a mosquito bite?
On Cross Lake, they have a considerable amount that are late all the time. And they eliminated about a third of it because they bill quarterly up there. And if you're late 2 quarters in a row, it's $250.
That's the
They-
late charge.
Wiped out a bunch of them, yeah. They had one contractor guy that has 4 lots, 4 houses. So they assessed him $1,000 and he called just crying about it. He says, you know what was coming. You just don't pay your taxes or you pay your sewer bill. Well, now he pays all the time.
So I mean, there are definitely.
I'm not saying you have to go to that dollar, about $1.25 is not.
No, but I think 1.5% is,
No, it's
people don't
not.
even care. They're
No.
like, oh, whatever, I'm not gonna,
And they spend $2.50 for a bottle of pop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think one of the biggest things is, it's the only bill I believe that I have yet that I can't pay online.
Yes.
So it's just a hassle.
I set mine up and I've been able to do it.
Yeah.
With your bank?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah,
With just bill pay or?
yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's quite a few people, I know, you guys, there's, I know the same people I'm gonna get every month that come by bill pay. But yes, we do need to work on getting that set up. That's
Yeah,
another
because we
thing.
have that ability to offer that to our people.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we should get, I think that would,
I think that
Solve
will
a
help
lot
with
of
some of those where they're the
Yeah.
people that are once in a while forgetting to pay.
yeah,
Because those aren't the ones I'm worried about. It's the ones that are literally, I've never seen a check from them, or maybe one time, since otherwise it's going to the county.
every year it just
Every
goes to
year it
the
goes to the
taxes.
county. Or it'll get up to, $800, $600, and then they'll pay it, Or they'll pay it a couple times, like they'll pay part of it a couple times. And then there's also a large number of people that pay 6 months at a time, ahead of time, so.
I
Nice.
was gonna ask that, because like with the well,
Yep,
if you pay
You
6
pay-
months at a time, there's a discount.
yep. Yep.
So maybe, is
Well,
that the
that's
way?
exactly where I was gonna go. If you pay ahead, is there a possibility to give a discount?
I mean, we could, if people pay a year at a time, we could do a certain dollar amount, or a certain percentage off of their bill.
Well, is there a way that we can create some sort of a spreadsheet or a matrix that we can make a decision on?
Yeah, so I can, it will be a little bit of work, but yeah, I mean.
Because right now, it's really hard to just throw out a number.
I know, exactly, and for me too, it's hard to throw out a number, but,
Well, let's just keep talking about it.
Okay.
Let's just see if we can come up with that, and if we have to do a special meeting to put a matrix together,
Okay.
let's just continue the conversation and just leave it a hot topic,
okay.
okay? Sounds like property taxes, we talked about that
Yep,
already.
we did that already?
All right. And Joe just walked in just in time for roads and plowing. You visited the township, how did that go?
Not so good, they want to dump the contract. So Tina brought up the fact that she got a bill back, I don't remember when it was, from Nestle Township. So the way this works is Midco pays the township writes, it cashes a check, the township writes a check back to the Shorewood Sanitary District. We cash a check and then we write them back a check.
Wow.
That's how this thing was put together, so they legally can plow a public or a private road. And now they haven't cut their checks, so that they say we're out of contract. And I said, well, supply me the contract that says that. And of course, they couldn't do that right there. So Tina and the treasurer need to get together ASAP and figure this out. And the treasurer said that, well, we sent it to Wendy Cook. I'm like, Wendy Cook hasn't been there for over a year now, so. Yeah, they want to dump the contract, they don't want to be in there. No matter what we do, they don't want to be in there. If
Can
we
they do that?
Well, it'll take, I guess I need to see the contract to see what stipulations are in there.
So they have to, so really at this point, we need to see that contract.
Yeah. And they didn't want to discuss anything with us, they want to talk to the board. So they're looking for a special meeting.
To sit down with
Sit down
them.
with the board and talk to them.
Okay, that's fine, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And they
So-
need,
If Midco paid them, and then they send a check here, has that been happening?
Yep.
yeah, she
So,
got a check,
okay.
but nobody knew what it was.
Nobody
for.
knew what it was for, I didn't know what it was for.
She reached out to Wendy, never got an answer from Wendy.
Okay.
Because I was like, I get this check from Nestle
Do
Township
you
every
remember
once in a
what-
while. I don't know what it was for, I had no idea.
Do you remember what this last one was?
I'd have to look back, but I can't get in our
65.
checking account right now.
She says it's like over $3,000 we owe, so.
What, that we owe them over
Well, then why haven't they reached, well, they're saying,
They reached out to Wendy. but-
or did it go to,
They said they mailed to the PO box.
It
She
has
reached
not
out
come to the
Wendy.
PO box.
Well, there's no invoice with that, well, it's just a check, not
Yeah.
a blank check, but just a check.
A check.
So that's kind of where they're at, they need at least 2 weeks notice
So-
on a couple of dates, because they gotta post a special.
I'm
meeting.
supposed to write a check, I was supposed to be writing a check back to them.
Yeah. How would you ever know that?
I would have never known that.
Where did this deal come? How did this even get, where is it a handshake deal? Is it,
Well, I don't know, Sandy says this is how we legally got around, so the township could plow a private road.
But then there has to be something.
there's gotta be some documentation.
Yeah, minutes or,
And this was back in 2004.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's just it, he's like, we need to revisit it, but yeah, they want to know.
So that then brings me to, that was what I was trying to remember, I was gonna talk about, mailbox. So I reached out to the county, to zoning, talked to them. They then didn't return my call, so I reached out to them again. So then they had me leave a message with Stan, because they said that it's Nestle Township that would put that mailbox at the pump house for us. Because I have a parcel number that they can create an address for, but I don't know who creates the address. She said I had to talk to Stan about it. I left Stan a message, I have not heard back. So that's where I'm at with that, but I'm still moving forward with it, but it's, yeah, so.
Only thing I know about that road stuff, and Tim, help me try to remember, is I always heard it was a lifelong contract. That was, which was always talked about.
That's what we were told.
That's what we were told
but-
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But we never seen any documentations or of that at all.
Just to make sure I got this straight, Joe, Midco sends a check to Nestle Township, is what you said, right?
Yep.
And they do that once a year, once every 6 months?
Must be once a
I can't
quarter,
say,
I'm
I don't
guessing.
want to discuss it too much, because I
Okay.
wasn't.
And then Nestle turns around and sends you a
A
check.
check, but I had no
that
idea what it
isn't
was for.
labeled in any way,
It just says,
shape, or-
it's to Shorewood Sanitary District, there's
Okay.
nothing on there.
That's the contract that basically just says what, but it doesn't show any, it
And
doesn't
then
talk about any
we're
of that stuff.
supposed to be turning around and sending
No,
Nestle a check
well, I haven't read it before.
with no
This
invoice.
was,
Yes.
Okay.
But that doesn't make
But I have
sense
to, you
either,
got
that
it.
we would
I have
be
it.
doing that.
No, it sure doesn't. That's why I wanted to make sure I was hearing it exactly
Because,
what
yeah,
you were
how would
saying.
what would I, from a budget standpoint, I mean, I don't have anything,
We
I'm not
don't-
paying a bill.
We don't pay bills without invoices.
Yeah.
Well,
And then if they were
I
sending
don't
it
think
to,
that's how it was done in the past, Paul, but that's the way it should be done now, yes.
Yeah.
Um, So you guys need to set up a meeting with the township and hear it straight from them. They're supposed to have that, she's supposed to get the contract from this Mary, they're supposed to dig it up. Not that one that you have on your phone there, but the actual Midco one that talks about the payment and stuff.
so that contract doesn't tie into this contract at all?
I don't see how it does.
Okay.
I think that is just a township general private road contract.
Well,
But it does have our name on it.
It's actually states Shorewood Park on there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
doesn't
it
say
states the
anything about
15
Midco
minutes.
on there.
What's that? It doesn't say anything about Midco on there at all.
Well, they want to keep going back to that, I'm like, that's not even relevant to what we're talking about, so.
Okay.
So what contract are you talking about?
I have a snow plowing contract that Kelly dug up when she was the clerk.
Okay.
And it states Shorewood Park at that. There was talk about this way back then, 2 years ago when she was there,
Okay.
that they didn't like the contract and they talked about it over and over and over again. But we, as a board at that time, all we were is informed from the past operator, our chairman, was that it's a lifelong deal, Midco pays it, we don't have to worry about it, but we never seen any contract.
Okay.
And we never knew the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew I was supposed to write a check.
Yeah.
Dave, can you send that one to me, please?
I think I sent it to you, but I can resend it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it wasn't just contract, it was
Yeah.
whatever it
Okay.
was, added to some verbiage.
So they need 2 weeks
And it takes 10 days to post it, they said, so.
to post a special meeting.
Yeah, so they're looking for a couple dates from you.
Wow.
And that, they can give them a couple dates, then they gotta mull over it, see if they can all make it.
So Mary Dillner is who I'm supposed to get in contact with, I'm assuming?
The treasurer.
That's.
Are they gonna send us information on it first?
Send an email right away, please. What's that?
I mean, they're gonna send us the contract that they say that they have, right?
I don't know if Tina can request it, maybe she'll get it.
Okay.
Because right now, we're going into something blind again.
Well, we just walked in there, and they didn't wanna talk to us, so.
Would Midco have a copy of that contract? I would think so.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, but that's, once we
could
see,
request it from them,
Right.
just telling them we have this meeting with them coming up, we're not getting information from the township, can you please send us the contract?
And are we anywhere with our lawyer? Is he gonna help us, or are we gonna find somebody else?
well, it depends on what we're asking him to do. Like I said, he doesn't respond to my emails.
Oh, he's not.
When I call him, I'll give him a call again, so, he's either busy or whatever, so I haven't.
It sounds like we'll be,
What?
they really didn't want to listen to, or make suggestions on how to make it better. They want,
Yeah.
you know, and I said, well, we want to help you guys to get our residents to comply with some of this stuff. You know, how do we do that? And they have the same issues, so we really didn't get anywhere with them. They want out,
Why do they want out, Joe?
because it's just a difficult place to plow.
That's
And
it.
it's private roads, and they shouldn't plow private roads, they say.
Which, I mean, in their defense, we have people with stuff on the road and, you know,
Oh,
it's not.
I don't think it was, yeah, it's all self-induced, I think. So,
Mhm.
That's part of the issue. People plowing across and not pushing, you know, like they plow their stuff out into the road, push it out in the road, they don't push it through far enough. Well, the plow can't get through there.
So those are things we need to talk, and we need the lawyer so we can implement some new ordinances, is what needs to. And, you know, they say, well, if somebody's parked in the right of way, they call the sheriff. We can't do that right now, we gotta get to that point.
And to make it even better, our roads aren't even along property lines.
Well, that's just, there is no right of way, so we don't have nothing there.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation, but we can make it better.
Yeah. Thanks for asking the questions.
Do we have anything else, or are we ready to make a motion to close the meeting?
You were going to fill us in on the mailbox.
So the mailboxes, I've reached out to, I've left a message with Stan, that's where it's at basically right now, is I need to find out, and they said that the $200 installation fee, and it has to be a swinging post, that's the Nestle Township requirement, which, depending upon what we end up doing for plowing, we might all have to go to a swinging post. You know, that might be something that we have to be compliant with, but that's what they said, is that it has to be a swinging post, they install it, and it's $200.
Or we end up talking to somebody else.
Well, that's
Yeah.
just it.
You know, do we just wash our hands of it and get bids on plowing?
Well, it'd be nice if we could keep the Midco cash coming.
Yeah, why don't we just get the Midco cash? Why is it even over to the township?
They said
That's
that
what I
it-
was just saying, that you guys should, in all reality, get the check because they agree.
But they were saying for legal reasons, though, is that because they're doing our plowing now for no fee?
Well, for some reason, Midco wanted to give somebody some money for services. And they wanted to give it to the township. And again, we have no idea how this deal was put together, so.
Well, Joe alluded to something about the private roads in Shorewood versus the public roads, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that has something to do with it too. And we'd have to see the contract, I guess.
Yeah, we need to see this contract. It sounds like madness to me.
Okay.
I only have one other thing here, Tina, on your proposed budget.
Okay, yep.
And, this is just from talking to Terry. We have money budgeted for quality flow for a spring and a fall PM.
Okay.
And you mentioned to me that you will do that same work as part of your PMs as per this contract.
Yeah, yeah, there'll be no extra charge for it, we'll just tie in.
Is that $1,700? So, basically what I'm seeing is that 165, 167, that $2,000 we have budgeted for quality flow can be updated,
Okay.
because it's put into his contract here.
So we're saying May 1st or April 1st, we could reduce that number down, correct?
Yeah, you could probably eliminate it out.
Yeah, because they're not gonna come in here in the spring, we don't need them.
So,
So we won't use we're not paying quality flow for anything else?
Nope,
Okay.
Is there a contract there, Rich?
there's no contract, that was just,
Somebody calls quality flow every month?
we just called them up in the spring and in the fall. Come on out and do your spring PMs, come out and do your fall PMs.
I do have one more question. Were we going to discuss anything on this, or was that discussed at the last meeting?
Well, basically I sent that out,
Okay.
and then I sent it to Chad Lemons. He sent a letter with corrections that should be made on here. And then Terry made the corrections, and this is the final copy of the corrections that were made.
Okay. I've got a couple questions. I'm looking at section 4.2, where it's LJJ will be paid an hourly rate, and I guess reading through it, it does say what the hourly rates are for the various different things, but then when I look at service delivery summary, and I'm thinking this is probably a typo, because 5.2 is regarding PMs and corrective maintenance repairs,
Yep.
and it says at least 90% of all scheduled
it
PMIs.
should say 100%. We missed it again, but it should say 100%.
It is in parentheses at 100%.
Yeah, okay, so that's just a typo on it.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's a correction that was made as per
Oh, okay. So
our
this-
legal. This is the corrected one. So before it did say 90%.
It probably still does, I don't know if she.
It said 90% and then said 90% in there, so
Okay.
it looks like she just corrected the 90 and put 100 in here.
Yeah, but you didn't do the word.
Yep.
Okay.
And we could, mean, if that's what we want corrected, let's get it corrected.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
have-
sorry, I read contracts.
Was there anything else then?
That's the only thing that
You're
I
good
saw.
here, so
Yeah.
we want to get this typo.
Yeah,
All right.
those two typos are the only.
And then you went through everything else?
I read through, yeah, I went through it quickly, but
And
that's.
if
the
you want to
only
take it
thing.
home and look at it a little bit more, then what I'll do is I'll get this corrections from you.
Yeah,
And then I'll meet with Terry and he'll just make the corrections and before we sign it, because that's really the last thing that has to
She
happen.
sent you a copy, a PDF too also, so.
Yep, it's PDF, but not Word, so
Okay.
if that's the only other correction that she has to make, I'll give it back, you can make it, then let's get it back, and then we'll get this thing
that's the only thing
executed.
I saw, so that's yours.
Pretty minor,
Yeah.
minor typo.
Like I said, sorry, I just read these things.
Okay.
I don't have anything else, anybody else?
I do.
Okay.
I forgot when we were discussing the channel. We're doing a weed removal of both channels and in the spring and in the fall before the siphon dredging. And we had discussed what we were going to do with the 2 acres of Shorewoods. Would that be okay to utilize that 2 acres for any dumping of the weeds or the sediment into those 2 acres? I did talk to the farmer and it was a little confusing, but it seemed that he thought he could farm those 2 acres based on past discussion with, I think it's Bohatties. So our conversation ended, but I just wanted to let him know that our plans for dredging.
I can.
And I told him if he would like to farm those 2 acres, to please, come and talk to us. And he said it depended to talk to Denny Wood, so I just left it. So being proactive, we're looking for possible other areas to put things if we need to.
Well, I guess I'd have to ask, what's the proper way to ask? I mean, are you coming to the board? I don't see a problem with dumping that stuff, and it's basically to dry it out, and then you're eventually gonna pull it back out of there, right? Is there gonna be a time frame of how long it has to sit there? And then what's the plan to, it's basically just to dry it out so you can get rid of it, right? Is it the weeds and the spoils, everything, right?
We don't know yet, it's just, it's just trying to be,
Proactive?
yeah.
So,
I think
Rich,
that's-
are you asking, will it be taken back off of the 2 acres?
Yes.
I think the answer to that,
No.
we weren't thinking that.
No,
Okay.
We were thinking we'd dry it on the shoreline first, and then haul it there and drop it, and leave it, but that was our original plan.
I don't know so much about the weeds, but the muck, I guess there shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But so you're not actually looking at stockpiling it, you just want to spread it on the land.
We need to dispose of the weeds somewhere, and we're looking for options.
I guess I wouldn't want to see the weeds spread on that land. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion.
Is it gonna turn into like a compost pile? And a mess that we had to clean up like we had to do last time?
Good point.
I'm thinking that if we set it there and piled it up instead of spreading it out on a thinner layer, if we piled it, we'd probably be able to get somebody to come by and take it for fertilizer in a field someplace. But it might be spring before they'd be able to do that. I don't know how long it's gonna take to dry it out.
The weeds will dry out in a few days.
yeah.
That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you're piling,
The
you
muck will
probably
take
got to
2
talk to
weeks.
the county, because there's rules about stockpiling dirt, so.
I would think that probably the proper way to do that, because you guys really aren't sure yet on what's gonna happen. I think we should probably have some sort of a written proposal or a question type, because right now and then as a board, do we have to ask the community, is it okay? Because it's everybody's property, it's not just ours. So then we'd have to ask, hey, is everybody okay? Here's what our parameters are. We want to stockpile this here for 2 months. Once it's there and dried out, we can get it hauled away a lot easier than, what are our steps gonna be? And I think to ask that question for everybody, we would ask the general question once it's out there. Are you guys okay with putting it there? It's not gonna stay there, eventually it's gonna come out.
I'd asked the question, but that's why we're here, is to make those decisions. And, but we should let the people know what we're thinking about doing.
Right.
Because it's what, a quarter of our residents that are gonna benefit from this on the short term. And then on the long term also, it'll be all of our residents.
Well, it's everybody, yeah, that uses the property.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't see a problem with it,
Yeah.
but I think we just have to do the proper steps to do it. And then make sure there's a good plan,
Mhm.
not just dumping it and leaving it, because
Yeah.
then somebody will come to us and say, well, same thing with that, the junk pile that was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There should be some procedures that we go through to make it happen.
We're just looking at option plan A, B, C, and D
Yeah.
for it, so.
Yeah, again, I think we just need to understand more what the plan would be. Yes, like I said in my email, it's an option. I would keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It is, probably, I wouldn't let that hang up, not getting the things.
Oh,
dredged
no,
out.
we're not. We're just looking at everything out there.
Right.
And being as we're here tonight, we
Yep.
just thought we would
I think
approach it.
I think we are probably all on the same page, that it's something that we just need to understand more what the exact plan is gonna be.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.